If Agile fails in an organization, it's rarely because of the teams. Most of the time, it's because of leadership. So, what happens when the leadership team doesn't support Agile? Do you try to convince them, or do you push back, or do you just focus on the team and hope that leadership catches up? Here's what most people don't realize. You see, leadership resistance to Agile isn't just an inconvenience. It's a career-defining test for a Scrum Master. And if you can't navigate leadership resistance, you'll struggle to create the real change that matters. And if you're in an interview and they ask, how do you handle a leadership team that doesn't support Agile? This is your chance to shine and to show that you're not just a facilitator, but you are a real change agent. Here's the truth. Most candidates fail this question because they talk about educating leadership or explaining the Agile Manifesto, and that's not how leadership works. If you want to stand out in an interview, you need to show that you can move leadership from resistance to buy-in without forcing Agile down your throats. So, in this video, I'll show you exactly how I'd answer this question in an interview, and more importantly, how I've actually handled this in the real world. If leadership doesn't support Agile, my first step will be to understand why, because resistance isn't about rejecting Agile itself, but it's about concerns that haven't been properly addressed. So I'll start by identifying exactly what's driving that resistance. From my experience, some leaders resist Agile because of four main reasons. The first is that they don't see the ROI. They think that Agile is just more meetings without clear impact on revenue or efficiency. The second reason is that they're used to traditional command and control structures. Agile decentralizes decision-making, which could feel like a loss of control. And this usually leads to the third reason, which is that they've had a bad Agile experience. Maybe they've seen Agile done poorly, there've been too many ceremonies, or not enough delivery. The fourth reason is that they're under pressure for short-term results. Leadership roles are tied to KPIs and quarterly targets, and Agile's long-term benefits could seem intangible in the short term. Instead of telling them that Agile is better, I'll focus on aligning Agile with their priorities. Next, I'll engage leadership in their own language. Leaders don't care about Agile for Agile's sake. They care about business outcomes. So I'll tie Agile principles to exactly what matters to them. For example, if I'm working with a leadership team that's focused on speed to market, I wouldn't talk about daily stand-ups or retrospectives. I'll show them how Agile reduces time to delivery through iterative feedback loops. And if they're concerned about predictability, I wouldn't explain the Scrum framework. Rather, I'll show them of how backlog refinement and velocity tracking could create more accurate forecasting. And if they're under pressure to increase revenue, I'll highlight of how Agile creates faster validation of ideas, reducing the risk of investing months into features that customers don't want. By framing Agile as a business enabler rather than a process change, that could help to get leadership to see its value on their terms. And one of the things that I'll do is to use small wins to build trust, because most leaders wouldn't buy into Agile because of a PowerPoint presentation or the Agile Manifesto. They need to see it work. So I wouldn't try to convert the entire leadership team overnight. Instead, I'll find one leader who's open to experimenting. I'll try to show quick, tangible wins like reducing handoff delays or improving release cadence. When leadership sees Agile solving their actual pain points, buy-in will happen organically. One of the things that I'll also do is to meet resistance with data, not opinions, because leaders trust numbers. If I say Agile is improving team performance, that's just an opinion. But if I say, since implementing Agile, lead time has decreased by 30% and we've reduced rework by 40%, that's data that can't be ignored. In summary, my approach would be to understand why leadership is resistant, whether it's concerns of ROI, control, or bad past experiences. The next thing I'll do will be to speak their language, to align the Agile principles with business priorities. I'll also build trust with small wins by demonstrating success with small things rather than imposing big changes. I'll also use data to tell the story because leadership buys results and not opinions. If you're preparing for Scrum Master interviews, you need to know exactly how to answer questions like these with confidence. On my website, I have free study materials, interview questions, and detailed breakdowns to help you prepare. You can check it out because I guarantee that it will help you walk into your next interview with confidence. Also, I have extensive experience when it comes to Scrum Master resumes in particular. At this point, I have reviewed hundreds of resumes and I'm pretty confident I know exactly what works, what doesn't, and the mistakes people are making. If you need a second eye on your resume, schedule some time with me and let's get you a resume that actually gets results.